Welcome. I am Marla Barnes. I'm the Vice President of Member and Industry Engagement for the National Hydropower Association. A couple of my colleagues are on today. I'd like them to introduce themselves, and then we'll get started on the tutorial.
Sure.
Ellie?
Hi, everyone. I'm Ellie Rubelo. I am the events specialist at NHA. I work directly with Marla on all things events, background items. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot me an email.
Awesome.
And she'll put her email in the chat so that everybody can see it. For you who are watching, it's Ellie, ELLIE, @hydro.org.
Awesome.
Chris.
Thanks, Marla. I'm Chris Hayes. Good day, everybody. Good to be with you. I'm NHA Senior Advisor for Technical Programs and Training within the capacity here of the events team. I'm supporting our content development work. And my email is chris@hydro.org. And don't hesitate to reach out.
Great. So we appreciate definitely your interest in the call for speakers for Clean Currents. As you know, Clean Currents is in October. We are working hard to get the program pulled together earlier than ever this year. So the call for speakers is our first step in doing that. The deadline for submissions is March 1st. We'd had several people, ask us questions, give us tips and tricks on how to turn in our proposal and try to get it to the top of the pile, let's say, for the Content Development Committee. So wanted to share a little bit with you all some insight about what the committee is looking for, answer questions that you all might have. Really want to make this a useful time for you all. So I wanted to start by talking a little bit about the content structure of Clean Currents and the various learning formats that we have. Then Chris is going to jump into going through the form itself to give you some insight on what would be good to select, what to put down. Then we'll give you a chance to ask some questions, and then we'll wrap up the 30 minutes with some tips on what to consider when you're submitting. So you can see I've got on the screen, this is live on the Clean Currents website. Go to cleancurrents.org, hover over programs, click on call for speakers. So Clean Currents is a little different in terms of the way we present content. When we started the event, NHA spent a lot of time talking with members and prospective attendees, trying to understand how people best learn. And basically what we got back was everybody kind of learns a little bit differently. Some people like to sit in the dark room and listen to a speaker at the podium and watch the PowerPoint slides. Other people like to be learned by being part of the discussion, so informal roundtables. Other people like to learn visually. They like to kind of learn on their own, looking visually at something. So Clean Currents offers a variety of different learning formats. So we're, first of all, as you think about your submittal, we want you to first think about learning format. So I want to just quickly go through these so you understand what we're looking for. Classroom presentations, that's kind of your standard, what many of us are used to at traditional conferences. The person stands at the podium like Betty is doing here. It's a 15-minute presentation. In a 1-hour session, we have 3 presentations in 1 hour. The Innovation Powerhouse is a relatively new feature of Clean Currents. Last year in Portland, we felt like we really checked the box in terms of what we were trying to do with this section of the learning activity. the idea here is we're looking specifically for demonstrations. It's not a stand at the podium and make a PowerPoint presentation. It's actually demonstrating something like Jake Cryer of Merck is doing in this picture. There's only 4 of these throughout the event. So 2 on one day, on the first day, and 2 on the second day. So it's a real honor to get selected for this demonstration in the Powerhouse. The third learning format that we have is we call it the Water Power Learning Center. It's really a fancy name for visual poster displays, along with an opportunity to share a little bit in a time certain on the conference program about what your work is. So if you choose this learning format and get selected for that, you not only get to make an oral presentation there in the Learning Center, you also develop a poster, and that's displayed in the Learning Center throughout the 2 days. And then finally, the deep dive workshops. These take place on the Tuesday before things get started in CC Central on Wednesday and Thursday. So what we're looking for here is submittals of proposals for actual workshops. They might be 1 hour in length, they might be 8 hours in length, but they're really more training workshop type experience that so think of yourself more like a professor or a teacher is what you would do the deep dive workshops. All makes sense? Anybody have any questions about learning formats?
Marla, just a quick point, if you could speak to it. So for classrooms, you certainly spoke to the timing.
Yes.
But could you do the same for the Innovation Powerhouse and the posters and workshops?
Sure. Yep. So the demonstration is 30 minutes. So you have a 30-minute window for the demonstration. The posters, here from the expert talk where you're standing like Kate Sir is here next to her poster, that's a 30-minute talk. So you have the opportunity to give your talk and then ask questions, interact with the people gathered around you. And then the poster, as I said, is up for the 2 days. The deep dive workshops, you would propose, I want to teach a workshop that is 4 hours in length, or, hey, I can be flexible. I could do, 1 hour or 3 hours, or this has got to be an 8-hour workshop. So on this one, you're giving us what you would do. Okay, and then just to I ask you to read this part. The mission of the Content Development Committee and NHA staff is really to work to create a conference program that's high quality, that is delivered in these various ways, innovative, interesting, things that are really, like, I call it practical technical, where the attendees are getting something tangible that they can walk away from and use when they go home to put to work in their day-to-day requirements. And then proposals that aid in accomplishing this mission. These 3 things will be given high consideration. Specifically, and we'll get into this a little bit later, these 3 things: case studies, lessons learned, and telling the story from the power producer perspective are all 3 things that the committee will be looking for as they evaluate your submissions. Okay, Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks very much, Marla. So we're just going to walk through the I guess the requested input fields here that we've included. So we start off by giving you all the choice of the 4 options that Marla just walked us through. So in this case here, this example, let's just pick classroom presentations as an example. So it'll open up new fields for you, starting with the first one here. So if your requested learning format is not available, would you be interested in participating in other learning formats? So yes, no. What this does is it provides the Content Development Committee with just some flexibility. So hopefully everybody is flexible and open to I guess additional opportunity. So most would click yes. And then you get into the details. So your title, and then the main points and key takeaways. So really, we're not looking for an abstract here per se, but really to be succinct and really try and describe to the development committee, what you would like a learner to walk out of the room taking away. Key points, main takeaways, what one should get out of your delivery. So not an abstract. Then down below here, just details around your name, your title, organization, email, phone number, so your contact particulars, including location. This last one down at the second to last one down at the bottom, if you're submitting on behalf of someone else, which sometimes could be the case, there's an option there for you to say yes, and just to differentiate the submitter's details from the speaker's details. And then lastly, just an open optional field down below to any other thoughts or key points you want to make or have considered. This is your place to put those in. And then lastly, you'd put the form in, and I guess the NHA team, we see those come in real time, and they're compiled, and I guess will be reviewed in March. Marla, anything to add there, or Ellie?
You get a little terrific. You finished it. Well, one thing that you may experience is once you've done the submittal form, like I just showed you, you'll get this little green box that says thank you for your submission. The committee and NHA will review all the proposals. Review results will be communicated on May 15. You will not get an email saying thank you for your submission. So I know that has confused people last year, but just know that if you get the little confetti and you get the note here, you're all good. As Chris said, you can always reach out to us. We can look in the back end of the submittal process and see if your submission got indeed listed there. But just didn't want you to be looking for that email and not have it. So questions at this point? Love to, if anybody's got one. Yes, Ollie.
Hi, I'm Ali Rasek. I'm with HDR in Vancouver, Canada. And I really like to have a poster presentation, but I mean, it should be, I will be attending on behalf of HDR. However, what I'm thinking about is presenting some of my research, like in the areas that you mentioned, rather than a real project. So I will prepare a poster with some educational, interesting information. That's what I'm envisioning in a way. So I wanted to know whether this would be considered, or is it something that is a no to start with?
Yeah, so NHA staff and the Content Development Committee will consider everything that's put forward. So we don't want to discourage any of you from submitting something. I think, Ollie, in terms of, when you fill out the form, be sure to, in that main points takeaway, put the significance of your research in a few sentences and, why it's going to impact this industry. Is it going to save money? Is it going to save time? Is it going to be, a game changer for the industry in some area? So helping the committee as they scan through these hundreds of submittals to be able to see that really quickly, I think would be our best advice.
Great. Yeah, you have a very good point. Okay, I will emphasize the importance and why it is like saves money and time, as you said.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Very
Thank
good.
you. Thanks.
Audrey.
Hey there, Audrey Lamb, Tacoma Public Utilities. I looked at the agenda for last year. I haven't attended this conference previously, and there were some sessions, roundtables and panel discussions. I was curious about kind of if there's an opportunity to submit, if you're interested in those things, how those get decided, how you're considering that with other formats for submission here.
Yep, great question. Chris, you want to take that on, or you want me to?
You can take that one, Marla.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks. Yeah.
So basically we are going to do content development in a couple of phases, let's say. So we'll first of all take the submissions from what you see on the screen, the from the submittals in those 4 areas. So what I'd suggest, Audrey, is go ahead and submit something, but choose classroom presentations, but then choose when you do that. Let me get to the right screen here. Say if you requested learning format is not available, say yes. And then down in the main points, key takeaways, and probably also down here in the notes, explain what you've got in mind. Essentially, what we'll do is go through all these submittals for these 4 learning formats. Then the committee will tackle the job of figuring out the topics for the roundtable dialogues and the panel discussions. So those are more what I call invited presentations. So rather than having call for abstracts for those, we work with the committee, who are all people working in the industry, affecting the industry, having really good insight into the educational needs of the industry, and will together create the topics and the ideas for those roundtable dialogues and panel discussions. But if you feed us something here, that'll be another way for us to make sure that we consider that. Does that make sense?
Yes, and in that same vein, if I might be interested in that format and can put that in there, but I don't necessarily have other folks, right, that would be doing it. Would you be looking at all those things and then making decisions and grouping different groups together?
Yep,
Thank you.
would. And a lot of times, and that's why, as Chris said, knowing if people are flexible, I may be Ollie and I want that poster presentation learning format, but I'm willing to be considered for another format that's helpful for us to know. So we might say, oh, Ollie, we really have this really great session on blah, 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 and we'd like you to be part of that, but it's a panel discussion, not a poster. So that's what we're using that question for. Lindsay.
Hello.
Hello.
So I have kind of a 2-part question.
Okay.
In the past, y'all have shared some attendee demographics, like positions that people have held, or locations that they're coming from, or asset owners versus consultants and whatnot. So do you intend to share any of those survey results to help us kind of determine what the high areas of interest might be, or yeah, that's the first part, I guess.
Okay, yeah, we'd be happy to do that. I thought somewhere on this page, I saw it just the other day. I may have to search for it, but yes, we do have demographic information. Just at a high level, I can tell you, typically the attendees at Clean Currents from a job function standpoint range wildly, but three big groups. Engineering is one, so a lot of engineers, technical kinds of folks come to the industry event. We also have a lot of decision makers, people who are in positions to spend money, buy things, make decisions. So they're, from a content standpoint, they're looking for help me through that decision-making process. And then you've got sort of this supply chain ecosystem, if you will. So you've got manufacturers, and you've got consultants, and you've got specific service providers, specific product suppliers. All of those people, unlike at a lot of conferences, they can't go to the content side. We don't want that. We want everybody, whether you're an exhibitor or not, to be part of the learning. So we have a lot of people who are looking for, innovations in things, new ways of doing things, how to save money. So that kind of focus is good. The other thing is we have people from all over. In 2024, we had people representing 27 different countries coming to the United States. Just on this call, we've got people from at least 2 different countries. And then in terms of geographic regions across the U.S., we have spread out. So even though the event is in Pittsburgh this year, we're going to have people from all regions of the United States. So, thinking about that geographical diversity of the attendees is important.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
You bet. And then your second question?
Yeah, so do y'all have any intel or survey data on which presentations last year were really well received or had higher attendance or anything like that?
Yeah, so we do keep track of attendance numbers. My sounding flippant answer is it all depends. It's funny, anytime you do a survey, there will be sessions that get, this is my favorite session, it was so good, and that very same session gets ranked, this was the worst session I ever went to. So a little bit of it is, what you're looking for. I think when we talk in a few minutes here about the what to consider when submitting, people love case studies. They love lessons learned. So if something, I'm willing to expose the things that went wrong, and here's how, I'm cautioning you not to do it the same way. Those are always good. Back to what Chris said earlier, I think when that attendee walks out of the room and can take away something really tangible, hey, I just learned something that I can put to work in my own office or my own field work, or wherever I am, that I can do my job better. Those are going to be the content that really gets the most interest from people.
Great. Thanks, Marla. Very helpful.
Yep.
Great. Hey, Marla, we had a couple questions in the chat here. So someone asked, or Aaron Winchester just asked, if you could just touch on the classroom presentation's length one more time.
You bet. 15 minutes, and that does include opportunity for Q&A. So typically we'll ask the classroom presenter to talk for 10 minutes and then provide 5 minutes to answer questions that the audience has. And it's a 1 hour session, so 3 presentations in 1 hour. And we're happy to do other tutoring sessions if you'd like. Chris and I are certainly available, happy to do that. This is the only one that we have planned between now and March 1st.
Yeah. And once again, the plan is we're recording it. We're going to post it and make it available so you all can play this back. And if you have questions, you can always email us.
Great. Chris, you want to bring it home here in terms of what to consider when submitting?
Yeah. So I think we hit on it a little bit earlier in the call, but certainly, takeaways, key points that can make an impact in one's day-to-day jobs, planning, processes. So looking for impactful takeaways, best practices, lessons learned. We hit on case studies earlier on. Those are all really, really important. And it's always great, for the OEMs, consultancy, service and product suppliers. If you've got valuable intel and best practices to share, always makes it a lot more impactful if you can partner up with a power producer. And that's something we look for, where you've got presentations either driven by the asset owner or you've got service and product suppliers co-presenting with asset owners. So those are the two key points there. Yeah.
Very good. All right. Any other questions that people want to bring forward? We've got a couple of minutes left. Dylan?
Hi there. Yeah, this is Dylan with Rye Development. A quick question on the classroom presentations. Will you just, if I'm submitting for an individual classroom presentation, which will be a 15-minute one, are you just going to look who's putting those in and then group them together to make the 1-hour session?
Exactly. So we might, the content development committee, maybe they pick out, I'm going to make this up, but there's 3 really great presentations, submittals on fish passage. So the name of the classroom session, the 1-hour session might be fish passage, and then there's 3 different distinct presentations on that overall topic.
Okay.
But so you don't have to worry about, where do you fit in? You just submit your submittal and we'll do the work of reading.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks for the information today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, we're glad you guys joined. That's great. And I just would caution you, it is a pretty competitive process, right? So we got lots of submissions, and we have limited space for them. So I don't want you to be offended or thinking that NHA doesn't care about your work. We definitely will consider every single submission. We've got a great content development committee. Rory Ellsberg, I saw you on here. You're on the committee as an example. So we'll have several people looking at the submittals and do our best to pick the most useful content. But we have lots of ways that NHA provides content to the industry, not only Clean Currents, we have the Powerhouse media platform that we have an email that goes out every week to people with content in it. We have the regional meetings, we have member activities. So we will endeavor to take your ideas and find good ways of getting that information out to the industry and to NHA members. So I just, want to make sure that, we'll consider everything that we see, but unfortunately, I guess it's a opportunity, a good opportunity that we have lots of interest, but not able to take everything that is submitted. So importance of really making that submission something that grabs the attention of the Content Development Committee is so important.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Ellie, appreciate you being tag teaming with us today.
Sure. Thanks, Marla. Yeah, very good. Thanks to everybody.
All right. Have a great day. We'll post this video on the Call for